Okay, so another thing that I'd love for you to dive into is that one of the things that we're experiencing in the world, obviously in this country as well, is unprecedented wealth, extraordinary wealth. And you and I have talked about this before. There's bad news and there's good news. And so give us a perspective on this wealth creation that's happening. And let's start with the bad news and finish with the good news.
I'll make one comment before I get to the bad news, and that is that why do you suppose at this time in history God has entrusted his people with unprecedented wealth? And I'm not talking only in America, but in other parts of the world. Why would he do that? Well, wouldn't it be because at this time in history, God has a reason for us to have this wealth, that we might do something with it that would change the world for Christ in ways that were not possible even 100 years ago? And what spiritual gift would you expect him to be distributing to people in times of plague and crisis? The gift of mercy and that sort of thing is seen in times of the Reformation 500 years ago. The gift of teaching seemed to appear everywhere because people needed to be taught the scriptures. What gift do you think God might raise up today? Romans 12 lists a number of the gifts and other passages too, but the least understood and talked about is the gift of giving. And I think many people in this room, whether you realize it or not, some of you do realize it, have been given the gift of giving for just such a time as this, as it's alluded to in Esther and David was mentioning last night. Well, the bad news about wealth in 1 Timothy 6 is this, where he talks about prosperity theologians of the first century and believing that godliness is a means of gain. But then in verse 6 of 1 Timothy 6, he says, now there is great gain in godliness with contentment. When it's not all about having the biggest and the best and owning more and more and more, because things have mass, and mass has gravity, and gravity holds us in orbit around it. You can't serve both God and money. You've got a choice. So be careful, he's saying. We brought nothing into the world. We can't take anything out of the world. You can't take it with you. But as Jesus says, makes clear in Matthew 6, you can't take it with you, but you can send it on ahead. Because those treasures on earth, you can move them around like you can move around the deck chairs on the Titanic, but they're going down ultimately. But you can send them ahead because you can take those treasures and you can invest them in eternity. We brought nothing into the world. We can't take anything out of it. But if we have food and clothing, with these we will be content. But now comes the warning. And in 2 verses of Scripture, the warning against what wealth that we hang on to can do to us. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many senseless, start numbering these as they come. There's temptation, a snare, many senseless, harmful desires that plunge people. Now I'm on the second hand here. That plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, It's not money, it's the love of money that is the root of all kinds of evil. It is through this craving that some have wandered away from the faith. So yes, it can taint even people who are seeking to follow Christ. And it can become the center of their lives, that mass with its gravity that just sucks them into it like a black hole. Craving that some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Is that what you want? Because if you want all of these things, then devote your life to the accumulation of wealth, because that's what they're going to get you. But it's not that we should feel guilty about having wealth, making a lot of money. That's what leads into the good news.